Good morning. You will see that I've attached a set of data to class charts today. In fact, it's two sets of data. It is the results from two maths classes. They both did the same test, and you've got the percentages that each student got and the grades. The first thing I'm going to say is let's ignore the grades. We don't have to worry about the grades. Okay, so we're only worried about the percentages. We've got Mr. John's class and Miss Helen's class, and you'll see that both of those classes are a mixture of boys and girls, so males and females. And we're going to compare Mr. John's class with Miss Helen's class, and we're also going to compare all of the boys and all of the girls, and we're going to try and use the averages and the range to decide who's done better in this test. Did Mr. John's class do better than Miss Helen's, or did she do better than Mr. John's? And did the boys overall do better than the girls, or the girls better than the boys? So I've started by looking at the boys, and I've looked at the boys, not just from Mr. John's class, but from both classes altogether. So I've gone through and I've picked out the boys from both classes, and I've listed them here separately. And I think this is certainly something that you need a separate piece of paper to work on. So I'm going in a minute to work out the mean, the median. I'm not going to worry about the mode. Remember, the mode is the most popular value, and these are all, there's lots of different values here, so I'm not going to worry about the mode at all today. So I'm going to work out the mean and the median. I'm also going to work out the range. Remember, the range isn't an average. The range is a measure of how consistent a set of data is. So the mean, I'm going to add all these up, all those numbers. Going to press equals on my calculator, and then I'm going to divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to divide by 9. So that will give me my mean. Chances are I might have to round that, so I'm going to probably round it to one decimal place. To work out the median, I've got to find the middle value, but remember, before doing that, I've got to put the data in order. So I'm going to have to write it out again, smallest to biggest, find the middle value. And that helps me find the range, doesn't it? Because if I put the data in order, I'll have the biggest value at one end, smallest value at the other. And remember, the range is the biggest value, take away the smallest value. So that's what I need to do for the boys. I then need to do the same for the girls. So I need to go through and pick out the girls' data and go through the same process. I then need to go through the process for just the students in Mr. John's class, boys and girls. And finally, I need to go through the process for the students in Miss Helen's class, boys and girls. So at the end of that process, I will have a load of data, won't I? For the boys, I'll have their mean, their median, and their range. For the girls, I'll have their mean, their median, and their range. And I'm hoping that at that point, you'll be able to write me a sentence, or maybe two sentences, telling me who did better, boys or girls. And remember, back to a week ago, when we're comparing two sets of data, the mean and the median, they're averages, so they tell us what typically people got. But the range is also important. That tells you how consistent the data is. And sometimes being consistent is as important as scoring highly. Hopefully you'll also have the mean and median for Mr. John's class, and the mean and median for Miss Helen's class, and the range for both. And hopefully then you'll be able to write me another couple of sentences comparing their two sets of data. So you're doing two comparisons. You're comparing boys against girls, looking at all the boys in both classes and all the girls in both classes. And you're looking at just Mr. John's class, boys and girls, and just Miss Helen's class, boys and girls. You're going to tell me who did better out of the two classes and who did better out of the two genders. And if you could set your work out like this, with a couple of sentences comparing Mr. John and Miss Helen's class, and a couple of sentences comparing boys and girls, and take a photo of that. I've opened submissions on class charts, so perhaps you could submit that to class charts. Now you have to understand there are 120 of you, so I probably won't have time to write you all detailed feedback, but hopefully I'll be able to just give you a well done or a few pointers if you didn't get it right. And that's an important way as well of us just making sure that you're keeping up and engaging in what we're doing. So I've opened submissions on class charts, so don't use email, use class charts, and hopefully you'll be able to send me a photo. If you haven't got a camera and that's a problem, then by all means email me with what you find. Take care, hope you are well.